Songs That She Sang in the Shower by Jason Isbell is in drop D tuning. So you want to take your 6th string and drop it to a D. Your 6th string is typically at an E. You would tune it down to a D. And then everything else is standard tuning. The opening chords for this song, you're going to start off on a version of a D chord. This chord right here. It's a C shape, but you just move it up 2 frets. So I've got my ring finger on the 5th string, 5th fret. I've got my 2nd finger on the 4th string, 4th fret. I've got an open 3rd string, and I've got my 1st finger on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. For this chord, you will basically be playing through basically all of these strings, but there's a pretty specific picking pattern that you'll have to get down. That is the recognizable riff that takes place throughout the verses of the song. And that sound is... What those notes are is an open 6th string, your low E, then an open 3rd string, the G string, then the fretted 4th string where you've got your 2nd finger on the 4th fret, and then you hit the 2nd string that you've got fretted on the 3rd fret with your 1st finger. And then you hit the open 3rd string again, and then the fretted 4th string again. And you get a series of notes that is... real slow. Now, the way that Jason Isbell is playing this is that he's not just playing them, plucking them string for string. He's emphasizing those notes inside of a strumming pattern that sounds like this. So it's going to be difficult to be able to be pulling off that strumming pattern while also emphasizing those specific notes without letting the rest of the 6 strings on the guitar get in the way of the sound that you're wanting to create. That's something that you'll just have to play along with and practice with, trying to get right, and figure out a way to, whenever you're wanting to play those isolated notes, that you can train your picking hand to just specifically hit those notes in time, but then immediately being able to go back into the fluid strumming. So that is most of the verse. Jason Isbell is singing over that chord a lot, and then towards the latter half of each verse phrase, it goes to an A minor chord, and you'll lift up your 1st finger in the A minor to expose the open 2nd string. Here's how you make the A minor. I've got an open 5th string, I've got my 2nd finger on the 4th string, 2nd fret, I've got my 3rd finger on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, I've got my 1st finger on the 2nd string, 1st fret, and then I've got an open 1st string. I'm not really wanting for the low 6 to ring out in this A minor chord. So strum the A minor chord, and then towards the back of the A minor chord, you lift up your 1st finger to expose the open 2nd string. And then it goes to an E minor chord. Now this E minor chord is going to be different from our standard E minor chord because we're in drop D tuning. The way that I'm making it is I'm taking my 2nd finger and putting on the 6th string 2nd fret, my ring finger on the 5th string 2nd fret, and then everything else open. Occasionally, I think that sometimes I notice Jason Isbell using his pinky finger to place down on the 4th string 2nd fret sometimes. which just makes it a bit of a fuller E minor sound, but you don't have to use your pinky, and it's seldom that I think that I see him doing that in videos that I watch. This 2-fingered E minor on string 6 and 5, fretting the 2nd fret, is all that you really need. And then it goes back into the D chord riff. Then whenever it goes into the chorus, you've got a D chord. The way that I'm making the D chord is I've got my first finger on the 3rd string 2nd fret, I've got my ring finger on the 2nd string 3rd fret, and then on the 1st string, sometimes I hear Jason Isbell leaving the 1st string open. Sometimes he may take his 2nd finger and put it down on the 1st string 2nd fret. Either way is acceptable, and you want to make sure that you let this low D ring out. Since we're in drop D tuning, you strum across all strings here at the beginning of the chorus. So it's a D, then it moves into a G chord, and just like the E minor, we're playing this G chord a little bit differently because we are in drop D. The way that I'm making this G chord is I take my ring finger, I put it on the 6th string 5th fret. The 5th string will be muted out by the way that I'm fretting with my ring finger. Then you'll have an open 4th string, an open 3rd string, and then I put my 1st finger on the 2nd string 3rd fret, and I don't really let the high E ring out. And that's most of, if not all of, the chorus. Take that back. There's another chord in the chorus that comes right here. It's an A chord. And it goes back to the D. The way that you make the A chord is I've got an open 6th string, and then I bar across, not an open 6th string, an open 5 string, and then I bar with my 1st finger across strings 4, 3, and 2 on the 2nd fret. Sometimes you may hear Jason Isbell, because this A is coming out of a D chord, you may hear him move his 2nd finger while leaving the ring finger planted in this D position note. And then once he gets the A going, picking up the ring finger to finish out the A note. And it would sound like... and that is the chorus of the song. Whenever it moves into the bridge of the song, there's a walk down to a B minor that sounds like... The way that you play this is it's coming out of a D chord, and you will emphasize the D beginning the walk down. The walk down you're wanting to emphasize as... So you'll emphasize the D string, the 4th string of your guitar, while strumming through the D chord at the end of, I guess it's a chorus that it's coming out of, D, and then move with your pinky finger to the 5th string 4th fret, and pluck just the 5th string 4th fret, and then move with your 1st finger to the 5th string 2nd fret, and then flesh out a B minor chord. So I've got my 1st finger on the 5th string 2nd fret, I've got my ring finger on the 4th string 4th fret, I've got my pinky finger on the 3rd string 4th fret, and then I've got my 2nd finger on the 2nd string 3rd fret. And you can let your E, your high E, your 1st string ring open if you want to, or you can bar it down with the rest of your 1st finger, or you can just avoid it altogether and not let it ring out, which I think is probably what Jason Isbell's doing. But so you've got a B minor, and then it moves to an A tone, but you're not going to make a full A chord. You're just going to lift up your 1st finger and then leave your 3rd through 4th fingers, your 2nd through 4th fingers in this B minor position while just striking the A note, and continue strumming through the rest of this seeming B minor chord. And then it goes to a G chord, which we've already discussed how to make. So the entire bridge comes together sounding like, so out of the D, walk down, D, C sharp, D minor, hit the A note, hit the G chord, back to the B minor, hit the A note, keep strumming the B minor into the G. And then coming out of the bridge, it hits an A chord, like a full A chord. And we've already discussed how to make the A chord, and then it goes back into the chorus of D to a G to a D, and we've already talked about the chorus. Alright, there's also an electric guitar part for the song that is pretty prominent. I'm just going to show you some of the licks here on an acoustic guitar. For the most part, whenever the electric comes in the chorus, it is just mimicking the exact same thing that the acoustic is doing, but without the strumminess of it. It will just one strum the full chords, like a D, and then it strums a full G, and back to the full D, and then into the full A. A little lick that you can hear the electric doing at times is whenever it rolls back around after one full round of chorus. Whenever it lands back in the D and kind of has some space to breathe, you'll hear the electric guitar go at one point, which is come back to our original D chord that we talked about the opening riff with, and start it with your ring finger down on the 4th string, 5th fret. So you've got fretted the open 6th string, you've got ring finger on the 5th string, 5th fret, you've got pinky finger on the 4th string, 5th fret, and then lift up the pinky finger, and it exposes where you've got fretted with your 2nd finger, the 4th string, 4th fret. And then sometimes in live versions, you can hear the electric continue on down in a riff that goes out of this little ascension on down to the 4th string, 2nd fret, open 4th string, fretted 5th string, 2nd fret, then open 5th string, then back into the D. And it would come together like. And you can listen to live versions to hear where that's at. Another thing that you'll hear the electric guitar do at times in other areas where it's resolving back into, or moving from a D to a G, you'll hear it do this little lick. So imagine that the acoustic guitar is going from the D into the G, back up to the D. The way that you would hit that little lead into a G is you would start with your ring finger on the 6th string, 3rd fret, and you would pull it up to the 6th string, 5th fret very quickly. So the 6th string, 3rd fret's not going to have much time to ring out. You're just beginning a slide up to the 5th fret there on the 6th string. And then once you get to the 6th string, 5th fret, you immediately hit the open 4th string, the D note behind it. And then you flesh out the rest of that G chord. That sounds like. Another little embellishment that you can hear the acoustic guitar, or that you hear the electric guitar doing at some times, is in the D chord, again where the D has space to breathe at the end of the chorus rounds. Occasionally you'll hear it emphasize the open 1st string, like, and with the reverb and the tremolo that's on that, it kind of, there's a lot of vibrato that goes along with it. Last thing, the electric guitar moving into the bridge will follow the acoustic guitar walking down. The way that it does it is just on the 5th string. It'll go 5th string, 5th fret, 5th string, 4th fret, 5th string, 2nd fret. And then it opens up the 5th string, and then it plays a full G chord. And in this G chord, you then hear the electric guitar go. The way that you do that is out of the G chord, you're going to fret with your 1st finger the first 2 strings, strings 1 and 2 on the 3rd fret, and you'll strum either from the 4th string down or from the 3rd string down to get that G sound. And then you're going to pull this little 2-string bar, or you're going to slide it up 2 frets to where a grouping of A notes is here, and then you want to slide it back down. And coming out of the G, it sounds like. and then the electric goes right back into the B minor, A, G, and then comes back up into the A with the acoustic guitar before hitting one last round of the chorus.